So if a patient has a bad knee or a bad ankle or shoulder or an elbow, and you're a subluxation-based chiropractor, should you deal with it? And the answer is, that's up to you. But one of the things that we do as chiropractors, well, maybe you don't do this, but I do this. I sometimes fall into the trap of maybe I could figure out something just to help this patient in the meantime because they're suffering. I'll tell you what I said for years and why today I got a good reminder to go back to it. So for years, if somebody asked me about their knee, I would just say, I'm a spinal specialist. I'm happy to refer you to somebody about your knee. Or I know the knee problem is not because of a subluxation in the spine. Would you like me to refer you to somebody to check it? And almost always they would say no. In other words, they're only asking you about it because, well, you're there and you know, you kind of, I think sometimes chiropractors end up being like the go-to person for everything for a patient. And it's a slippery slope because the one time that you're not able to help that person, or they're even a little bit worse because you're just trying to help out, their confidence in you and what you do shrinks dramatically. Can you imagine now if a patient went to an oncologist and while they're there, they said, well, you're a doctor. I have this sore knee and it's been getting sore when I go up and down stairs and etc. And they told them the whole story. The oncologist would probably just say, you need to see somebody else. But we have this tendency to want to be all things to all people. So yesterday, Janice was in. Janice is a great patient. She understands the chiropractic principle and has been having trouble with her knee. She mentioned it to me 3 visits ago. She mentioned it to me last visit. And now yesterday, she said, I mentioned to you twice now about my knee. And it's the first time I caught on that she was actually asking me to fix her knee, thinking that what I was doing chiropractically was going to repair like the torn meniscus that's in there. And so I said, well, let me check it for you. And I did some range of motion things because I know those things. I did a few different tests for her, and just to appease her that somebody was looking at it. And I adjusted her and sent her and said to her, if you want further imaging of it, you're best to go to your family doctor. And left it at that. So this morning I get an email saying, after I left your office yesterday, my knee got worse. In fact, much worse. I guess the treatment didn't help at all. In fact, it probably injured it. I'm going to take a break right now until I figure out the problem. Right? So I called her rather than emailed her and just said, I was evaluating your leg, not treating your leg because I didn't treat it. It irritated it, which just further points to the fact that there's a problem with the knee and inside the knee, which requires further imaging. I'll be sure to make sure when you come in that the spinal nerves to that area are clear to help with the healing, but you need to see another specialist. And I had to kind of, I don't want to say talk her off the ledge, but basically the second that she became uncomfortable with me as her primary health care provider as it pertained to chiropractic, or as it pertained to, like, she thought I was there to fix her knee. And I didn't make it clear enough that even when I was trying to help her out evaluating the knee, because I thought maybe that it was a stability issue and I could send her to a certain person. I was trying to really figure out who was going to be the best referral for her, but she thought I was treating the knee. And the communication around that stuff is so finicky. Like, if you give somebody dietary advice and it doesn't work for them, do you know what? You now suck as their chiropractor. It's true. If you give them, advice on planting, I don't know, swimming, running, and they get hurt, every single time that you open your mouth, they take what you say at the beginning as gold, and the more often you're wrong, your word is less. But that's the same person that is going to give you trouble coming to your year-end wellness report, because you don't speak with the same authority to them. So the point is, find out what you're the best at. Find ways to communicate with the patient what you're not the best at. Have a resource to send people to that you're comfortable with, whether that be a chiropractor who does sports physiotherapy type stuff, or a specific clinic. I have a number of different clinics that I'll refer to, and but it's good because it keeps it clear that in my office you're here for subluxation evaluation and correction. I just happen to also have connections elsewhere. I find that the less I talk about things that aren't chiropractic, the longer the patient actually stays a chiropractic patient. Let me repeat that. I know this is getting over 6 minutes now. Thanks for sticking this long. The less I talk to somebody about things that aren't chiropractic, the less I give advice about things that aren't chiropractic, the longer they stay a chiropractic patient. It's a good one. It's a great reminder for me. Thanks, guys. Hope you learned that lesson. I know I did.